This Is Not Gonna End Well is the 22nd and final episode of season 7 of Two and a Half Men. This is directed by Lee Aronsohn, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode chronologically and share some thoughts. It's an okay episode, but I could not care less about Chelsea. I really don't like her, so I wasn't that interested in it. But there are some okay moments, but I wouldn't consider it to be a good season finale. It starts off with Jake driving in the car and he ends up speeding. And Jake realizes he's just got his license, he's going to get it taken away. So Charlie makes him switch seats so that he's in the driving seat. And it turns out that Charlie had unpaid parking tickets, he'd binned the summons, and they ended up suspending his license, which obviously isn't great. And Alan, surprisingly, tells Charlie that he will drive him wherever he wants until he gets his license back. And then we find out why Alan's being really nice. And it's because he was invited to Chelsea's birthday party. And he wants to go. As he said, he doesn't really get to hang out with adults or people his own age very often. Charlie does not want him to go, which I think is understandable. And in the middle of the night, and I have to say that the scene was quite funny. I quite enjoyed it. Alan's in bed. Charlie comes barging into the room, telling Alan, "You have to go." And that's because if he doesn't go, Chelsea's going to know that Charlie said no. And he doesn't want her to think that. So we cut to Alan arriving at the party at Tom and Ed's, and I feel like Tom and Ed gave him quite a frosty reception. Alan arrived on time. It was quite a bizarre scene that I didn't really enjoy very much. And then we're back at the house with Charlie looking at a gift he'd bought Chelsea previously that he hadn't given to her. And I think it's quite telling that he still had it. Maybe one could suggest he had just forgotten about it, but I think it's quite significant that he was holding on to it and he decides that he's going to go and give it to her. So obviously Jake has to go too because he has to drive as Charlie can't. And we have an interesting enough scene in a card shop. I feel like they were trying to get a lot of comedy out of this scene with Jake looking at cards that are meant to be funny, but I don't really find greeting card humour to be that entertaining, so I didn't really care, but it was okay. They're back in the car, they drive to Chelsea's, and Charlie can't do it. He bottles it. So he makes Jake go up and give her the gift, the jewellery, and Jake does, and he wants some cake. And I have to say, I enjoyed this bit. I really enjoyed this bit. Alan says, "No, you can't have cake. We haven't even sung happy birthday yet." So Jake starts to lead everybody into singing happy birthday, which was quite funny. I quite liked it. For me, that would be humiliating, but I guess if, Jake wants cake, he's willing to do anything. And it was not too bad. And Chelsea opens the gift from Charlie and she gets emotional and leaves the room. I think it's quite important to note that she probably thinks Charlie had bought it for her now to give to her for her birthday now, not that he'd bought it months ago and still had possession of it. And I think that that's really key information because I think it sends a different message. Giving her something he'd already bought is kind of just saying, "Look, I bought it, you might as well have it anyway." But if Chelsea thinks that he just bought it for her, that's sending a very different message. That's saying, "I'm still thinking about you, I still want you, here's an expensive piece of jewellery." And that's very different. And I feel like Charlie really should have told Jake to maybe send a clearer message. But obviously the episode might have played out quite differently. And, well, Charlie is in the car. He drives and there's a police car behind him. And Chelsea is walking the dog just as Charlie is being handcuffed. And the final scene is Charlie in his orange outfit going to do community service. And it's honestly a really flat ending. It's not a great ending, and yes, that's partly because I don't care for Chelsea. I don't like her. I'm just so fed up of the stories focusing on Chelsea. But also at the same time, it's just not a good ending to the season. It just felt really, really underwhelming. There were some good moments. Jake singing happy birthday. I guess looking for the greetings card was interesting because we get a change of location. But in general, it was a pretty average episode. And I didn't really care for it very much. Yes, partly because I don't care for Chelsea, but I also just didn't think it was that great. But it's not terrible. It's still watchable. I probably wouldn't skip it if I'm binge watching season 7. I probably wouldn't miss this one out. Do I recommend it? Yeah, sure, it's still fine, but I'm just so fed up with Chelsea. Such a boring character. It's not that I think it's unrealistic that Charlie would still be thinking about her. I think that that's actually quite believable. But that still doesn't mean that I enjoy seeing her all of the time. Do not care for her. Not a great episode, but I guess it had its moments.